So let's check out an hour of Citizen Sleeper 2. And then if we're still streaming after that, we'll vote again on something else. Or maybe play some more of this. So let me change the category. I loved this original game. Such a big fan. One of my favorite games that came out that year. When was that? It's a few years back, but it was in like my top 5 that year. Thought it was incredible. Are you a fan of this? There it is. All right, on to the next one. Yep. How'd you feel about it? Safe, risky, or dangerous? The intended difficulty for those happy to be challenged. Broken dice cannot be used. Standard stress tolerance. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. Citizen. Operator. I just love the vibe of being in the emptiness of space. Same. Yeah, that's what really... Like, the gameplay was very addicting. Like, I feel like I think I remember doing like the entire first game in like 2 sittings. I was hooked. But what really did it was the music. One of my favorite soundtracks in recent years. Just the writing and just the atmosphere. I loved it. Operator sleepers are built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks to perform corporate resource extraction from a distance. Operators have expertise in working with interfaces and computer systems, but are more physically fragile than other sleepers. Their reboot skill allows them to hack their own systems to reroll dice. A risky but potentially powerful move. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Extractor. Extractor sleepers are built to work at the coalface of corporate resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Hello. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those in their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Machinist. Machinist sleepers are built to repair and modify automated systems used in corporate resource extraction. Machinists are very skilled engineers, but their isolated work means they often struggle with tasks requiring a direct approach or social engagement. Their focused skill allows them to focus on a single task and boost their dice to excel in it. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. I think we're going to go with machinist. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then it's context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives, the fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper. A familiar name, a mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted, one person sleeping until their debt is worked away. Their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. But you escaped, you remember that now, broke free of your corporate creators, a Senart, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes and a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt. A sharp smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away, to the corners of your vision. Try to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know, and have known for a long time. Stabilizer, the drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid roiling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial, but it would be wasted on you now. After what you have done to this body of yours, he looks at you with palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control of Grant's Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up! Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain, from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of a synthetic muscle. Free, are you? Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now, you aren't free, you're just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard, and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of your struggle behind him. Of these struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it, but your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey! He waves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper, help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room you're in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see the dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley, the one who guided you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, Sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Where are we? Somewhere on the Starward side. Not too far from the docks, I hope. You see a concerned frown across his face. That's not what you meant, is it? He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city, growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells. Shadowed by them, you open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face, the slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. He's speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process, and he lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks off down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. Oh shit, I didn't change anything, did I? I prepared for this. I think. Maybe not. Okay. This part I did for sure. Okay. As you are led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle. The rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer. The promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment the residue of panic, of fear, remains. You are Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait! Your guide holds up a hand, and you stop your glide along the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels. The docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it, one covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Utsubo. Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this. It's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye, and you see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. He sees you looking and slips it away. He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, all right? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane? He was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete, and... He sighs and shakes his head. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches your face for a sign of recognition. What's the rig? Seraphin looks annoyed. A ship. Our ship. Or at least it soon will be. Lane assigned it to us when we were on jobs for him. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads, he bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. You wait a breath and glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked, at the tightly sealed door, its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks, where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like the dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks can have a positive, neutral, or negative outcome. The better the rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more info in the guide section of the pause menu. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. It only takes a moment to understand the mechanism, and you reach in and snap the locking access, the door popping open with a hiss. Go, go! Seraphin flies past you, through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see 2 guards approaching fast across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open, and you both rush inside. Quickly! Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on. The rig's drive rumbles into life, and Seraphin slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudged there by the port's docking protocols, you feel a sense of relief. Seraphin burned hard out of Darkside. You dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphin breaks the silence. We're good, Sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. We certainly did. He turns, and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact thing to him before, in this same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphin reaches up, clicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize, is just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphin kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit and cold cyan. We need a plan. He glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly. He sighs. We need to talk. Seraphin furrows his brow. Not now, Sleeper. We need to forget. He flinches, the words coming out wrong. We need to focus on something other than... He pauses again, unsure. Us. He sighs. We need to survive this thing first. Then maybe we talk. Fine by me. Seraphin nods, but the tension remains. We've bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do, and there are plenty of opportunities here for us, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand, in 0G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's insides. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm going to get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections, people that might throw us an easy contract. You, he glances back over his shoulder, you keep out of trouble. I can handle myself. Seraphin stops at the airlock. Look, Sleeper, you aren't yourself. He sighs. Stopping the reboot halfway through, he pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into a sleeve. I don't want you passing out and... He stops. Don't baby me. I'll be fine. Seraphin drops his head, swearing to himself. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphin nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open, and Seraphin glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for 2 people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Something you recognize Seraphin's instinct to look after you. Suddenly, you recognize Seraphin's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship, now lost, to the reboot. Catch! Seraphin throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryochits. These should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies, he grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Surfing kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. Make a plan. You try to think ahead to what might be coming. You'll need work, that's the first step, but then what? Lane will be coming eventually. The sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, and run. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into port. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector. The game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice, use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items, progress clocks towards new scenes and events. You can review tutorials at any time in the guide section of the pause menu. In Citizen Sleeper 2, you perform actions by assigning action dice to them. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you'll succeed at an action. But your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right, and will reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned to that action. Like skill checks, dice actions have 3 outcomes: positive, negative, and neutral. Each action is also rated safe, risky, or dangerous, based on the outcomes it has. The more dangerous an action is, the more significant both its rewards and consequences are. For more information on dice actions, check the guide section of the pause menu. Chat to crews. There are plenty of crews milling around the docks moving cargo. They could be a source of info. Explore the docks. Hexport's docks are a dizzying mess of braided cables and flickering signage filled with busy spacers. Exploring is both thrilling and intimidating. Danger. Impress the brokers. The data brokers are the heart of the exchange. They show off their knowledge by discussing decryption. Maybe if you can talk the talk. Trade scrap. Trading scrap is all about identifying materials and cleaning up components. It's an engineer's job more than a trader's. You just progressed a clock. Clocks track your progress towards both positive and negative events and can be filled by performing actions or by the passing of cycles. Spotting you are asleep, a crew shouts across the docks at you. You give them a wide berth. New location discovered. The Bends. Play Star and Stoker. SNS is a spacer gambling game played with custom magnetic dice. Chits are stashed in symbol-marked cans, and winning is ruthlessly luck-based. Buy a Ben's Fry, a plastic bag of flash-fried, salt-flecked tubers. The Ben's Fry brings spacers back to the scattered tables of the bar, cycle after cycle. The rig is your ship and home in the Starward Belt. While the rig is docked at a hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks use dice to reduce stress. Galley use supplies to regain energy. Other locations will unlock as you play. While the rig is in a dock at a hub, Your crew will also help to gather resources to contribute to the upkeep of the ship. You can choose which resources they should focus on in the crew task menu to the left. They have a random chance of acquiring it at the beginning of the following cycle. This clock is a cycle clock. It will progress towards an event each cycle. Its completion will trigger significant events. You put some distance between you and Lane, but you are sure that he'll close the gap as soon as he is able. Supplies are typically saved for contracts, but when food isn't readily available, you've got to use what you've got to survive. I'm going to risk it. Okay, neutral outcome. You try to advise a broker on ways to break open Solheim data caches, and they seem vaguely interested. I could try to get away with this. Oh, yeah? Okay. Nice. You notice the pattern, start to identify the signage and glyphs. The logic of Hexport unfolds. Freight loading. The warehouses at the Hexport docks supply the industrial operations of the station, meaning they need constant loading and restocking. Any other good options for today? Maybe I'm going to try that. I don't know. Best case scenario, we get a neutral. Is it better to just... I mean, I have a remaining die. The likelihood of a negative outcome. Let's see if we can get a neutral. Alright. You settle into the rhythm of the warehouse and put in a solid shift. You've used all your dice for the cycle. You need to end the cycle at your ship, the rig, to reroll them. You've used all your energy and are now starving. While starving, you gain 1 stress per cycle, and any energy loss accrues stress. Eat to regain energy. We're in trouble, sleeper. Seraphin leans into the bunks as you're getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes, and glide down the length of the rig, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphin inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the zero-G engine room. You know what these are? No, tell me. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What'd you do? Seraphin laughs. Oh, I see how it is. These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We are lucky the reserve tank is empty. Otherwise, he shakes his head, it would have been bad. But he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the brig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumps the large lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? Seraphin sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. You will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try and track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some other recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other end of the station. Okay, I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait, Seraphin pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard a word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. Shit. You said it, Seraphin sighs, which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. You have discovered a drive. Drives help you track and choose your objectives in Citizen Sleeper 2. The arrow button in the top left opens the drive menu where you can choose which drive to track. Once a drive is tracked, a yellow marker will be placed above any location that relates to that drive. Drives come in two types, major and minor. On completion, a major drive rewards 2 upgrade points and a minor rewards 1. Keep an eye on the drive menu as you progress to see what new opportunities and objectives are available, and track those you want to pursue. Welcome to the character screen. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left, you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to your dice when you undertake an action. To the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is active only while at a hub. Factory Row, Ramshackle Fabrication Center. Search the row. The factory owners of the row speak mostly in terms of supply and demand, but going door to door might help you find the ship fitter you need. Haul materials. Factory Row is filled with workers hauling material through its zero-G corridors. Helping might win you some fans among the factories. Give it a go. Hell yeah. You understand the code system used to assign the supplies and make a rapid delivery. The other haulers pass on part of their earnings. Data diffusal shift. All scrapyards have paid data diffusal work to offer, as old tech tends to be laced with protocols and countermeasures that need disabling. Scrapyard shift. Swift Scrap Solutions, or Triple S, as it's known locally, is a chaotic and slightly terrifying scrapyard where open shifts are always available. Triple S is constantly processing scrap for the factories in the row. They'll pay good money for raw hull plates. Okay, I think I'm going to use the 4 here. Ooh, but okay. You just gain some stress. As your stress increases, you will have a higher chance of taking damage to your action dice each time you roll them. You have a good sense of this humming way station. Time to use that knowledge to your advantage. As you're gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation, drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, Seraphin told you to keep your head down. You look around for something that could break up the fight and see thick, cooling pipes running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley, violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scramble in the alley, and you spot the figure who was being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then your vision instantly fills with pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you but sending you spinning in 0G. After a few minutes, you manage to steady yourself. As you do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. Suppose you think that was clever. The man gives you a severe look. You like to break up fights you didn't start? He laughs. Belt's gonna eat you up. He shifts the large bags on his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy in 0G. I was helping. The man laughs. Well, he shakes his head. Thanks, I guess. He kicks off it, drifts past you. You watch the man go, and then, after a moment, he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. What is your deal, anyway? He sighs. Maybe you're new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders. I need help. The man raises his eyebrows. So you look for trouble? He shakes his head. You got it all wrong. Look, let's not hang around, all right? The man pats his chest. I'm Femi. He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. Make yourself useful. Let's head. You get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He cuts down a side passage, looking back to check you are following. Then he stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out the viewing window at its odd, catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together. Symbol crash, he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. Femi, you bringing in strays? A young woman, brightly dressed, and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. No offense. Nia. Femi shakes his head. This one. He squeezes your shoulder. Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself. Nia raises an eyebrow. Naya? Naya raises an eyebrow. And Femi? Femi? I'm sure you could handle them, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed. Naya turns to you. Thanks, she smiles sweetly, and I'm sorry for my brother. She shoots him a glance, just in general. Naya, Femi murmurs, enough now. He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Naya rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent. Factory Row wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bags. I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them. He turns back to you. Thanks for the assist, Sleeper. He nods firmly. Not what I expected. He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the cymbal crash. Naya looks at you with raised eyebrows. I hope my brother was joking, or did you really help him? I tried. Thank you. She looks back at the ship. My brother needs help more than he admits. What do you mean? She tenses. I don't know if... She smiles a tight smile. I shouldn't have said anything. She pauses, thinking. I want to ask you something. She takes a deep breath, then gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? Are you looking for crew? She looks away. Sorry to be direct, but you seem like, well, if you're on Hexport, maybe you are with a crew. She stops herself. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew. Maybe you're looking? I am. She struggles to hide her smile. Naya looks back at the ship, then at you. Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. She frowns at her own bluntness. I'm not a kid anymore, you know? But he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. She gives you a determined look. What do you say? I'll think about it. I'm a good salvager, all right? You can use me. She smiles. I can spot things. Find gaps, ways in. She folds her arms across her chest. I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, all right? Let me prove myself. Suddenly, a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi. He makes both of you nervous. Naya looks in his direction. I should go. She pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. Naya gives you one last glance as she departs, then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. Gotta eat. Okay. You squeeze your bag and crunch a handful of crisp and greasy radishes and potatoes. Not bad at all. Maybe I should get another one. Okay. That'll stave it off for a bit. I think I want to go back. Work on knocking this out. For today, maybe. This is as good as odds as I'm going to get. We'll see. Trusted supplier. You have a little trust with the factories. Now the trick is not to waste it. Sweet. Factory Row howls as you glide through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there's energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport's, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them. Tubes, just like those Seraphim had waved in your face. The feed lines. You push over to the display window of the unit, marked Karsten Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside, where the sound of Factory Row is a little screened, and spot a large figure working at a bench. Hunched over, concentrating, it seems he doesn't notice you enter. Hello? A sharp eye glints as the figure looks over his shoulder. Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Karsten places his tools in the component against a magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thick-set features do not betray the results of his assessment. Custom built those, for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of the old MEVs then? He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. perhaps Seraphin should have come along. That's right. Karsten nods. Always good to see one of those still running. Look, Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone, let's say a few hundred cryo, unclean chits. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. 400? 400, Karsten says back, repeating your question without the emphasis. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just the way they are worth. It's just what they are worth. He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Karsten nods sagely. There's a little favor I need a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hands. I know of a Solheim wreck out there, very old, pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it. He shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship, so it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. He smiles. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core, and while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So, if I was to find you back there, with that data core in your cargo hold, clean cut and complete, well then, I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Karsten pauses, sniffs at the air again. You just need the coordinates. Why do you want it? Special interest. You wait for more, but his flat expression tells you it isn't coming. So, you interested? He glances back at his workbench. Because I'm a busy man. I'll do it. All right then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this one between us, all right? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm. Those coordinates. And then he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Karsten having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Karsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, and the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. A contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide. She clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry, she smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. Do I know you? She pauses, confused by the question. No, she pauses again. Karsten, she starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Why didn't he tell me? She glances back towards Karsten's. I guess he forgot. He does that sometimes. She looks sheepishly at you. He just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Karsten's always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things. She pauses. I can be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship? And you can tell me where you're ready to go? Sounds good. Okay, great. Her eyes light up. She notices she still has her hand on her shoulder and takes it off. Junie pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you, she calls back as an afterthought. What about the ship? Oh, I'll find it, she calls back and then disappears down the passage. You watch her go, glad of the contract, but nervous too. Will Karsten keep up his side of the bargain if you deliver? I don't know about this sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out of the rig's windows as you finish explaining Karsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer of help. If this job was easy, Karsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars. And there's definitely something going on with this Junie girl. He shakes his head. What choice do we have? What if, Seraphin narrows his eyes, we could get the crowd together to buy the feed lines? Is that even possible? I've been away. Watched Batman Beyond Return of the Joker with the fam. How was it? Did you get in the mood for that because we were talking about it the other day and potentially playing the game? Or was it something you were planning on watching anyway? I've never seen it, I don't think. But good time? I really liked, as a kid, the one Batman movie. Mask of the Phantasm, I think it was. I remember that one being pretty good. But it's got a very heavy narrative aspect to it, but you'll see in a second, there's like a lot of dice-based rolls, and you're basically trying to like make your way, like exist and escape on this space station. And you are confronted with a number of tasks, and you kind of have to weigh the risk-reward of each one. And you have like a set of dice at the top, and you figure how you want to dole them out pertaining to each task, because you only have so many that like offer a high chance of success. So yeah, but honestly, there's more. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played the original, but I didn't remember as much like dialogue and narrative. But maybe it's just because like now that I'm streaming it and reading it aloud, it just feels like more. Whereas like I was just kind of speed reading on my own when I played the original. Found a contract board at the exchange, further in station. He gestures towards Hexport. Oh, we're gonna snooze these for a second if I can. Can I do it? Okay. Whew. But we're about to switch the game, I think. Half and half. My girlfriend and her brother are huge Batman fans, and she hadn't seen it before, so we were showing her. It sounds really cool. It's great. I love it. Well, I mean, I'm liking this so far. I loved the original. It was great. But yeah. How did your girlfriend feel about the movie, since she hadn't seen it before? We take on a job that might get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to take Karsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Do we have time? Probably not, but without crowd for fuel and supplies, we aren't going anywhere. Seraphin sighs. Just take a look at the contract board, see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew, too. Seraphin shrugs. Many hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around. We take Karsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles locked tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection has broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you were floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There's nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes and you are back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb, and then a residual flicker. You flex in zero-G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain, a disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. She loved it? Hell yeah. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, R.I.P. GOAT, yeah, seriously, are always top-notch. They were incredible. I loved the animated series as a kid. And yeah, like he was, still is, Batman, like his voice, his approach to that character. Does anyone really do it better on like the vocal level? And yeah, Hamill's Joker is legendary. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they are yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. You've unlocked a contract. Open the map screen to view it. So, we have done an hour of Citizen Sleeper 2. What's the cryptic clue for the next game potentially played? I was just going to make the poll. Yeah, I think I got one more in me. We'll see how I feel. I think I might take the visual novel off there. Ads in a minute. Yeah. I think I've read too much today. Doing all those wacky voices in No, I'm Not a Human, like, really took its toll after. I didn't know that game was going to be as long as it was. Like, I thought it might be like 2 hours. I should have known better. Because it was over 3. So doing those voices for that long, and then reading this, which has been very narrative heavy. So I think I'm just going to put the more gameplay oriented games on there. But speaking of, feel free, y'all can vote. I'm going to get the poll going here. What's next? New poll. So we've got silly platformer. I think it's a platformer. Fast platformer. What else did I have planned? The other one was a visual novel. I don't know if this visual novel, like, I don't know if it's voice acted or not. I guess we could check it out. Maybe I could do another hour. Okay, let's throw it on there because I want to give you all 3 options. But yeah, I think those are the 3. So, sci-fi visual novel. Not this one though. All right, you got a minute to vote. Let's see what our next indie game is for today. Maybe the last one for today. As we try and experience a little bit more of what 2025 had to offer this year. A lot of cool stuff came out. How bad does your voice hurt? I'm fine. I just, I'm feeling like, yeah, it would probably be better to shy away from something where I'm, like, having to read pages and pages and pages of text, you know? Just so I don't kill it. But, I mean, my profession, I'm talking all day long every day, and I stream, you know, a lot of times after work, so I'm accustomed. But we also have to record the podcast tomorrow morning, so yeah. I'm going to be mindful of that. Next up, we are playing Fast Platformer. Cool. All right. That's kind of what I wanted to do. So hell yeah. All right. So what is that platformer? How fast is it? Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. See y'all in just a minute. Quick break while the ads are here. And then we'll get... Yeah, I think you were. It's a quiet stream today. So you got to decide for us. All right, I'll be right back. See y'all in just a minute.